before it's too late.
The fantastic success the Seychellois have had in saving the brush warbler is partly due to the island being kept free of feral animals. Kuzan is one of the few places in the world where there are no rats nor cats. The birds on Kuzan feel so secure, many nest on the ground and have no fear of people. This fluffy little fellow is a baby tropic bird. Its mother, knowing her young one is safe, has flown off to get it some lunch. The reason why this island has never been invaded by predators like rats is simple. There has never been a pier for boats to moor against. And despite the growing number of tourists and bird lovers visiting the island, that will never change. The tourists are carefully supervised by a dedicated group of Seychellois rangers who live on the island.
Bon, alors on commence avec les Français d'abord, comme l'habitude. So these birds will leave us and they hang on the ocean. They stay within the Indian Ocean. Don't move elsewhere, unless the wind will blow them into land. That's very seldom. So there you go. Since this morning, they're actually active with the nest building. Right? They're a bit late because of weather.
The rangers' work is not only supervising tourists, they also monitor and preserve all aspects of the island's ecosystem.
We Seychellois, we've been involved every time in this, conservation. And we are here like really naturalists, I mean, it's commitment really to, you have to make to live here. So we like it ever so much. And we have a total of us working here. And plus a lad who's got his wife and the kids, 7.25 people living here. I mean, tourists, they can see our, what you call seriousness when you come here. And they say, oh, this place we can't go left or right. We have to stick with those guys. I mean, and then I would tell them how restriction, that you stay with your guide on the path, that kind of things, don't, take anything dead or alive. And they know, they can see the expression on our face,
On the island of Fregat, another important conservation war is being waged. The man leading the struggle lives the life of a hermit. From Scotland, Neil McCulloch's world is like no other. He lives in a Tolkien-esque environment, populated by bizarre, larger-than-life creatures and vegetation. It really is like something out of a fairy tale. The island is home to the giant tenebranid beetle. Itself endangered, it's found nowhere else. Also unique to Fregat is the world's longest millipede. Perhaps the most fantastic of all is the giant Aldabran tortoise. These were once widespread on Indian Ocean islands, but like the dodo of Mauritius, they were nearly eaten to extinction. Today, this endangered species, which lives for hundreds of years, can only be found on a handful of islands in the Seychelles. But Neil's mission in life is to save another of the world's critically endangered birds. It's the Seychelles Magpie-robin, and there are only 30 individuals left in existence. These three are 10% of the whole population, the equivalent, if you like, of 500 million people.
Well, the Seychelles Magpie-robin was probably once widely distributed in the central Seychelles. Over the past 150 years, it has declined dramatically to the point where it is now one of the rarest birds in the world. At the moment, there are only 30 magpie-robins in existence. The main problem has been the introduction of mammalian predators, principally rats and cats. Since the human colonization of the Seychelles, vegetation has changed dramatically on many of the islands. For instance, here on Fregat, although it looks very nice, natural island, the vegetation is 95% non-native. So we have a totally artificial situation here. So the feeding conditions for the magpie robins in this introduced woodland is relatively poor. Now, the robins can survive without the native forest as long as there is either bare earth or very short vegetation in which they can feed. In the late 70s, there were 40 birds here. By the mid-80s, it was down to 20. This is mainly attributable to this loss of feeding habitat. The establishment of new native woodland is obviously going to take time. It involves removal of the undergrowth from the existing forest and replanting with native tree species, and also planting new areas of forest. So in the short term, we are providing birds with supplementary food. This, to some degree, overcomes the problem of the lack of feeding habitat. Now, we're not trying to give them the full dietary requirement. We don't want the birds to become dependent on us for all their food. We want to keep them foraging naturally, behaving as naturally as possible. And we found that cockroaches have been a very useful supplement to their diet. We can catch them easily enough, and they've got pretty high nutritive value. It's also very similar to their natural food. Just in the last 6 months, since we've intensified the supplementary feeding, we've had tremendous breeding success. The population has gone up from 25 to 30. The supplementary feeding is allowing birds to breed more often. It's improving the survival of the young birds. We hope that certainly within the next 18 months, we'd be getting fairly close to that original figure of 40.
2 of the male robins have been moved to nearby Arid Island. Initially, it was an emergency operation. There was an excess of male birds on Fregat, and territorial fighting was endangering the young. The long-term plan is to move females to join the exiled males and establish a new breeding colony. In the meantime, the situation on Fregat is extremely precarious. One serious fire, storm, or outbreak of a disease, and these beautiful birds could be lost forever.